Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Trekyards. I'm Captain Foley.
And Stuart, we are home. Probably. Unless they're dodgy, but we don't know yet. We just watched episode 5. There could be more to the story. And I'm Connor Coggins.
Yeah, we just watched Die Trying, which is episode 5 of season 3.
Yes. And I know a lot of you would instantly watch this video thinking, what are Trekyards going to say and how they're going to dissect. So do tune in for a long week worth of sub-videos with lots of fun and fancy graphics, comparison things, and bobs. Lots and lots to look at, so do tune in. They come out most days, so do tune in. And of course, our live tonight, the full breakdown. We're going to look at that live with your reactions and your comments.
At 9 p.m. in the UK, that is 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to start early because I know people want us to talk about the ships and all the good stuff in here, and there's going to be, I feel it's going to go longer. I really enjoyed it, actually. This was very much felt like Star Trek. It kind of...
How many in a row is that for Discovery?
A few. I mean, they've hit their stride, I guess. Season 3, right? They planned it this way. It had a problem of the week feel, very much like TNG with the whole seed ship thing, which was interesting, and I don't think was really needed in this episode. This episode felt very dense, very packed full of stuff. Just because there was so much to look at and so much new information, I kind of wish that the seed ship wasn't there, but at the same time, that gave me that TNG feel, like this is a one-off adventure thing, but it ties so well into the other storyline that it just felt like there could have been 2 separate episodes for me.
As you know, I had higher expectations of this one, and we all want the Federation stuff to be good, and I was not disappointed. Even with waiting for those subtle vibes of, ooh, is that Admiral going to be the villain? No. Just doing his job correctly in a good way. Is the security chief going to be maybe dodgy? No, she's just... Everyone's just precautious because of course you would be. You know, it actually felt... I think it's definitely an episode where it probably will suffer on a second viewing because, yeah, the seed ship thing is a large chunk that you care immeasurably less about. On the first viewing, you're watching it as an adventure and you're wondering where it goes. And I've only watched it once before I did the second one for live, and it's a really great story because you're evolving it. And then you keep coming back to the interesting stuff on the station. But I think as the more you watch it, you're going to start skipping the seed stuff because it's much less relevant. All the stuff on the station is really, really interesting. And considering, you know, this was the trial by fire, how are they going to represent the Federation, the Starfleet? I was pretty impressed / interested / engaged with almost all of it. And again, we got so much right. We keep picking out bits. He was CNC. That was a unique uniform. Lots of little things. You even called out the submission of the seed ship. We called out the... Section 31, I think, is the guy in the black suit. I loved the debrief about the Mirror Universe stuff. That was exactly what we would do and we would say, and was super, super interesting. The burn, and I'm sort of skipping around a bit, but there's so many little things because they did so many little things well. I love the fact that the burn, they didn't know what caused it. And so it's a great sort of cop-out, but it felt so genuine. Like, yeah, all our scientists and all the universe have ideas, and there's no evidence really for any of them. Doesn't matter. Like, we don't know. That's great because it takes...
Don't worry. Michael Burnham's here. She'll solve it.
Hey, sure, fine. She's the hero. Whatever. Okay, fine. You got me there. But I like the fact that it was still a mystery, and there was no sense of we're the villains here. I liked that. That tone is so important. And even at the end, the bring them up vibe, you know, that positivity, and that, as we had said many times, yeah, Discovery coming in represents this other era. Just like the Renaissance Dark Age was a great analogy. Bring in, yep, we're going to try and do more.
The first thing I want to talk about, obviously, is the ships. I mean, we got some really cool ships. I meant Voyager J. And I think they probably did the J just because, oh, we had an Enterprise J, so why not do a J? The 11th iteration of the ship, I love how Tilly's like, because I did the same thing. When I first found out there was a J, I was like, it's 10. Wait a minute, no, it's 11. And there's the correction there from... yeah, Oa is what they call her, yeah, which is great. So I loved that. I thought that was a cool looking design, and yeah, that's, you know, 11 starships in 900 years with that name. So the USS Nog, great, nice nod to Nog. However, I wish it would have been the USS Eisenberg. I think the actor's name would have been more poignant than the character's name, because who the hell wants to be... I'm Captain Foley of the Starship Nog. Apparently, though, the Nog is the Eisenberg class. You know why? Because CBS said it was. That's great, but I wish there would have been a nod to the actor Eisenberg in there, because, yes, Nog is fine, but I don't know USS Nog just doesn't have the good ring for me. I love that they addressed it. I love that they did their thing. And memorializing the character instead of the actor, I think was a little bit of a misstep. I would have preferred the Eisenberg. It sounds better. And a lot of people made the argument last night when I did this on the live. My first reaction was that a lot of Eisenberg's a pretty popular last name. Nobody would know what it meant. I disagree, but okay.
Yeah, I mean, the Voyager J was unexpected, but better than the Enterprise F, or Z, sorry, better than Enterprise Z. And certainly of all the ships that are worthy of the mantra of a J, or of anything, the Voyager, with its absolute... no other ship has done what it did. So, you know, while we still go with the old idea that only Enterprise got the extra modicums because it's a legacy ship, I can understand Voyager being the second one to get that legacy. But I gotta say, honestly, I disagree about the Nog thing. I'm the exact opposite. It being the Nog, you know, in universe is the canon-y bit, and the character is a first Ferengi in Starfleet. I'm sure had a great career, etc. If you call it the Eisenberg, 9 out of 10 people won't know who that is. If you call it Nog, 10 out of 10 people know who it is, or at least 7 out of 10 Star Trek fans. So one immortalizes the actor, the character. One is just a name, just like when John Eves named all of the, you know, Discovery Season 1 ships after fighter pilots. Most people didn't know that.
Not fighter pilots, test pilots.
Test pilots. So instantly they fell on deaf ears. But Nog was great, and the fact that it was the only ship we saw highlighted, I thought, even though it's very like it's you can miss it, but it's also the only one. I thought that was absolutely great. And then as for how they were arranged, I actually really appreciated how they approached. They're in this light bending bubble, super simple, being generated by Starfleet Command, super simple. With all the ships, the last of the fleet, or the main fleet that we assume like the last big fleet that's together, and they're all powering it. Super simple. Beautiful, effective, and obviously the only reason we knew where they were is because we were told. That said, I thought it was very jarring at the start when, Captain, we're almost there. Did you spore there? Could you warp from Earth? So where is it? I want to know where they were. There was a...
Yeah, I wish they would have mentioned where this Starfleet headquarters was as well, just so we get a context as to where in the universe this thing is. We already had the theory that it could be Bajor. I guess it's not, because no wormhole was mentioned or anything. So who knows? But maybe that'll come up at some other point. That definitely would have been a nice thing. Starfleet Command I wasn't super impressed with, to be fair. I did like the idea of the cloaking, the field, whatever they had going on. It was a good excuse for everything to be indistinct and out of focus and not really be able to have a chance to see anything. So
what do you think of then in more terms of detail of the CNC, which we were right, and how they were treated going into the Starfleet?
I loved it. The appropriate amount of caution. It made you think that maybe they were sketchy, but at the same time, with the way he was talking, you're like, no, he's just being cautious. And the fact that it was actually brought up that Discovery was listed as destroyed in 2258. So when there's no record of a spore drive, there's no record of, you know, any kind of secret missions, anything like that.
Or control.
Red Angel suit or control, exactly. I thought that was fantastically done. And we mentioned that in our preview thing. I had said I kind of hope that that's an issue because, you know, technically there should be no records at all. So I liked the interrogation of the crew, the kind of recap of what happened with everybody. And
yeah, that was funny.
So
Colbert, you were dead. Yeah, mentally and physically. Yeah, it's good stuff. It's good stuff.
Yeah, and I'm cool with my murderer now, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I thought that was fun. I wish there was more of that, though. I wish the episode comprised more of that and dropped the seed ship thing, personally.
Or shrunk it.
Yeah.
Shrunk it by a good 7 or 8 minutes.
Yeah. I think the way that they were greeted, the way that he played it out, like, you know, I'm not willing to discuss that with you at this time. You're not home yet. And then at the end to say, you're home now. And then her ask again. And then him give her the what they do know or don't know. I thought was very well played, and I like the guy. I like the new Starfleet. I hope they don't turn out to be bad still. I loved it was just a perfect balance of caution mixed with common sense, and it was well done. So yes, absolutely loved it.
And that topping of making sense canon. There weren't bits I was thinking what, which is good. They mentioned the temporal stuff. They mentioned, you know, it was a big, you know, those. It's amazing how when you have a really meaty conversation, 3 people in a white room in close-ups could be the most exciting shit you've ever seen. You know? Like, that's more exciting to me than an Ion Storm
Yep.
zing. Who cares? Like, this is really... And it was handled well. And great casting with the guy. Great balance. I liked at the end, it's like, maybe we have been in triage too long. You know, we've got too accustomed to this. You know, mindsets change.
And the best thing was, we don't do 5-year missions anymore. We don't have time for exploration. And somebody pointed out, well, they haven't done 5-year missions in TNG either. Well, yeah, but he was referring to their time. He knew where they came from. That was the thing in their time, which I thought was fun. I thought that was a great little nod.
Felt cowboyish.
Yeah.
As much as TOS. Although, remember, hundreds of years have been in between. They probably had 5 years missions in between. I'm sure the 2650s were full of 5-year missions. Just saying.
Maybe, yeah, at the height of the Federation.
Yeah. Which was, I like that. Still, 33, I think number was member worlds. Still a lot that we know of. That we can... It was in the 30s.
Or 38. It was one of those.
Yeah.
I think it was 38. But
rather than high 300s its height. I love the clarification. And that's still quite a few. That is, yes, we can't reach them, but we can still communicate with some. That's still a lot of planets. I'm not despondent by that.
And the call out that Barzan officially joined, because they fixed that, thank God. And that Kaminar also joined as well, which is great. Nice little nod. But yeah, the Barzan, they joined in the 25th century. Because we called out when she was part of Starfleet, like, what? They're not a member. They're not another member world. Why would she? So we still got to get that story as to why she joined. But anyway,
well, they almost told the story. They told us that her family just didn't like it, but I wish it said, I joined because this, and this. But that would have been, I guess, kind of close to the Saru storyline. You know, both odd race. They wanted to throw in other races, they put them in. And I got to admit, I don't, for the most part, care about Kaminar, and the way we saw them in season 2 was stupid, etc. But watching the moment where Saru gets told they're part of the Federation generally hit me like, oh, okay. That some reason that was real satisfying, because you know what that means to him. And the fact that, like, is it okay now? They're like, yeah, I mean, it's normal, they're fine. It's like, yeah, Federation, member world, flying cars, it's fine. It's like, oh, cool. No, it was nice. And there's one interesting tidbit, which is, you imagine, especially in this episode, they're going to be so deliberate. And I got to call them out. Just like with season 1, season 2, you can tell they're rushing to get scripts made when they're rewriting the season. You can tell proofreading wasn't their highlight, lost stuff got through. This episode feels like they proofread it. They went through and carefully kept it, you know what I mean? The lines are careful, which is great. And so every line there is, I'm going to take more seriously. Going into the Giorgio scene, great scene, really, really good scene, and probably Giorgio's best performance in like 23 episodes, you know, like her best moments. They explicitly say 2 universes, 3 timelines. 3 timelines. 3 timelines surely is them saying that you are now in an alternate future. Because she did not live in 3 timelines. She lived in 2. Mirror and Prime.
Unless they count the Prime one as its own, then the 2 that they know about here, which is, I can see them retconning Kelvin and Prime as 2 here. But
do you know what I mean? That is not a reconcilable thing unless they're admitting that you know, what you lived in was an alternate. This is now an alternate. That could mean, and that could mean a very fun retcon, like you say. You know, the pre-Control timeline was the wrong timeline, but after Control was defeated, it became the, you know, whatever. You could do some fun stuff with that. So I just want to call that out.
Absolutely. No, I totally agree. And I think those scenes with Giorgio were great. That was one of her best performances. David Cronenberg did a fantastic job as well. And I kind of liked that he was putting Giorgio in her place, and she was getting pissed off about it because she thought she'd have the upper hand, and then he'd like knock her down a peg, and you could see the tension in her jaw, like the acting. She was pissed, and it just kept getting worse. There was a few things I didn't like about that. The whole, why you wear glasses? Well, it's because, you know, I think they look good, you know. They make me look smarter. A lot of people were calling out that he's a Terran because he has glasses, and I thought that was stupid. He said his fascination with the Terrans started when he was a boy. And he mentions that after she left, the distances between the two got further and further, so there hasn't been a crossing for over 500 years.
Which means there was crossings up until the 2500s, so there was quite a few after TNG.
Exactly. So, I mean, it could be a red herring, could be he is a Terran and is just whatever. But I really liked the way he slapped her down on multiple things. Even said, "Oh, you like my badge? Here, play with it." And she breaks it right away, like all cocky, like, And not a shit is given. He doesn't. Nothing you can do with those components that you'll be able to do anything with. It was very well done. Of that being said, I think there might be some implication that she did something with them, because at the end, there's actually a few theories I have about the end with her, which we'll talk about in just a second.
We could do a full Georgia episode, which we haven't been able to do for a season and a half because she's just not that interesting. But I liked that. I assumed she was going to take the comm badge, do something with it, and then escape. And I was like, how the hell could you do this with the comm badge? It's so far above you. But they didn't. Complete red herring. She broke it, which in itself is stupid, because how could a foot break a comm badge? That's dumb. Whatever. At least you didn't fix it. I didn't use anything with it. Yeah, I didn't think the guy was Terran at all. I think that's just... The glass I thought was great as a little character beat. I mean, he's obviously a Section 31, like, the continuation of that. But they're just less formal. There's so few people. He's just like, well, I'm just... division branch, whatever. I mean, yeah, just the way he's dressed, it's clearly like they're the... Because then he has knowledge of... Because you would think that Section 31 would have knowledge of past her in Section 31. So there's not only knowledge of her... Because she'd be classified in terms of the Red Angel stuff, but she wouldn't be classified in terms of the Section 131 stuff, because we assume they'd keep the records to some extent. But then only accessible by them, maybe or maybe not. But I love the fact they only know really her because of her Mirror Universe collection. That's great. I like that.
And they also point out that the genome for the Terrans, there was the flaw in it. That's why they were all evil. She's like, well, I was particularly nasty, even for a Terran.
Have you seen yourself in a season and a half, girl? You've been real nice. You've been a tame little kitten. Sorry. Sorry. He even brings that up. Like, why are you on Discovery? There must be somebody there you care about. And that's the last beat we get from that conversation. And it's like, okay, that goes into some of my theories that we'll talk about probably. I don't know if we do it in this episode. No, we'll do a separate episode. Yeah, there's some meat there, which I appreciate.
Okay, good.
And you definitely get the sense that character was spinning its wheels until now. They were just trying to make sure Michelle's in the episodes to make you remember she's in them. She had no part, and we were saying that she has no part. She's now got a part. Good. I didn't. The space map. We didn't get this big broad beauty of the map. Bit disappointed by that, but we did get enough teasers, and there's lots of little. I'm sure we'll do a little video of Easter eggs. There's lots of little... They are really hard to find. There's only so much text that's in focus. But I got to call out that entire room. I thought was a lovely design. Very Trek, especially with the light beams. I do a few bits of internal ship design build. And it's future white, but it's definitely of a Star Trek art design. That said, I'm assuming that's just the main offices, because that's, there's going to be more to that station than that room. Which I thought was kind of cool, on the top, but also, which I guess is kind of an homage to a bridge being on the top. I guess that was kind of an homage to that. But I want to see more of the actual facility, because it wasn't huge. If that's the center of all Starfleet and the Federation, and there's only like 9 ships or like 15 ships in that thing, it's like there's still a lot more questions, and I hope we get more. I hope Well, I've really liked the episodic, and I think the episodic has helped this show so much. This nice, condensed, powerful vibe each week. I now want to make sure we keep evolving this part of the lore. And not just next week, we're going to go do this story here. And it'll be done by the episode. No, I want to make sure we get back to the station, see some more stuff. That keeps building. Maybe they'd show them to the planet where they've inhabited lots of people, one of the refugee planets, and it's a thriving colony, it's nearby, it's where they get the fresh water, etc. I want more things with that, rather than just now episodic. Give me that link.
And also the fact that Discovery has a shit ton of dilithium on board, and they can now power their ships with dilithium again and get to high warp again, maybe, so they can actually start moving out from this point, which would be great.
So what do you think about the idea of Discovery remaining in service with its crew, with its spore drive, and not like mixing crew, not its... they wanted to originally take Discovery, bring on a new crew, whatever, and retrofit the ship, but it almost has a sense of, we'll just leave this antiquated ship alone to do its own thing, even though it can't take on anything. Like, it seemed to go 180 on that. What do you think of that whole thing? And do you think we're going to see Discovery actually be changed, or a future crew on it as well?
I think we're going to have future liaisons on board if they do any more missions. That would be great, actually. Just have like 1 or 2 key people on board, keeping an eye on things, updating them on, oh, that race is this, and da-da-da-da, whatever. And I love that he said to retrofit the ship. I was looking forward to that. I got excited.
We get that.
Even though Saru got to shut it down because focused on the crew being split up, which was fine. So yeah, I want to see improvements to the ship and at least some liaisons on board from the future as regular crew members. Even I don't know if they're going to go that way with this show though. Like they can go like 2 different ways right now, and judging by next week, it's unfortunately not going to be the way that I want, really.
The problem with having... So, yes, new nacelles, new paint job, potentially, new weapons, great. Retrofit, brilliant. Problem is, if everyone's going to stay on the ship and everyone's going to stay outside the ship, well, it will feel like this micro-Federation inside the Federation. There won't be this big cohesive, we're the Federation vibe. There'll be, hey, we're the Discovery crew and you're the Federation. You're not going to breed that interconnectivity that you want to feel, and the show will feel distinct of like, well, they're the Starfleet people, and that's Discovery. Refit it, retrofit it. Like this is the as it was Discovery season 1. This is the key. You don't let massively under knowledgeable officers with massively inferior technological skill in a massively outdated ship fly around the universe. You just wouldn't do that. You know, maybe keep some of the crew, etc. But I would expect at least a hybrid crew. You know, because if you, especially since you want to teach people how to use the ship, so you, if in case their crew gets hurt, well, then you need people on board to learn it. So I would expect to see some sort of merging. And we know they get the new comm badges. Don't know why they wouldn't get the new uniforms. If you're getting comm badges, get the uniforms. That at the very least. Like this is their chance to do that full reboot. You know, new uniforms, some new set paint, look cleaner rather than the copper, change outside. You could really make a splash with this. Maybe by episode 7. Or maybe they get damaged at one point and their work things can't repair it, so maybe they have to get the refit.
Anyway, let's talk about the last little part of this, the seed ship. I did like the seed vault idea. We currently have one on Earth, the Doomsday Vault. It's in Norway. So the fact that it's Michael Burnham knows about it means it's been around for a long time, and it's all the seeds in the galaxy. Don't know about that, but considering that it would have been updated, hopefully, with new Federation worlds as they became members, that's fine, I guess. The ship seemed rather small for what it was saying it was, though. But anyway, yeah, this was like the problem of the week TNG episode, and it was pretty well done. I love that the Doctor had a bigger part. Non was great seeing her, and I just don't understand really why she decided to stay. Sure, she wants to visit Barzan again, but... Which
is not clear, because the ship hasn't got active warp. And they didn't say they were near Barzan, so what, is she going to sublight there for the next 400 years? Like
Somebody's coming to replace the people that were taking care of it, the family. And so she was going to make sure that the first Barzan caretakers completed their mission, and get the bodies back to Barzan for proper burial and stuff. And it's like... Okay, but then after that, why don't you just come back? Why are you leaving?
Yeah, I mean, I assume, you know, in 6... I mean, we had no sense of how long that mission was, so maybe in 14 years, when she's there with this guy that's dead, when she's there alone, someone will come pick her up, and then she'll get taken to the Barzan, and it's like, oh, okay.
But Michael said it'll be the end of your career, so... I thought that was a stupid thing, but that's okay. But yeah, I mean, that kind of separated the episode out and made it feel like it's a standalone episodic piece. Which was interesting. And the whole getting hit by a CME, coronal mass ejection, which was only like 6 weeks ago. What timing? You know, if this had happened later, they would have met the family, everything would have been fine. It was a fun little adventure, but I don't think it was really needed in this episode, unfortunately. So,
I mean, something was needed to prove themselves. It was just a bit long. But it was good. It was fine. It was interesting. I think what saved it for me was the fact that they actually saved, in essence, they saved in the short term the scientist guy with a simple Star Trek problem, solved in a simple Star Trek way, well explained in a Star Trek way. It wasn't the Discovery style, we'll fix it with a thing. It wasn't, you know, it was actually a very classical problem, techie solution, makes sense, solved. He's fine. He's going to die because of radiation, but I liked the fact, and the fact that he did give in. He wasn't a villain. He didn't try and stab anybody. Like, you know, it was, again, good vibes. This is no one's a baddie yet. No one is a baddie yet. But there's motivations for them to do less good things. Love it. Simple, effective. And Nan staying made sense in the simple context, but there's no information for her to gather. I'm sure she'll learn from the scientist man, but, you know, she's got a lot to fix, because there's a ship she doesn't know how to operate, system she doesn't know how to operate. They've got to now put all of the vegetation back, like cut up the vegetation because of crew's dead, deal with, you know, 4 cryo stations with dead bodies when the other guy dies, wait there to be picked up with a ship that may or may not have warp. How far are they away from Barzan? Who the hell knows? Like, they need a few more bits of information. And also, I didn't like the fact that they said the seed ship existed in the Discovery era, And they very much were saying it's literally the same hull that lasted for 900 years. Because he's like, oh yes, we still have this ship as well. You're telling me it hasn't been destroyed in almost 800, 900 years through a time war, through the burn, so it didn't have a warp drive, which it doesn't have a warp drive. If the thing's always static as next to an ion storm, then why has it never been destroyed by anybody ever? And if it's going to be central to the Federation, why, you know what I mean? Why?
There's a lot of questions. More questions than answers, unfortunately. Yes.
They didn't really care. It was very much a who cares problem in terms of the MacGuffin of the week. It needed just like an extra 4 lines of explanation, just to give it some more context. I just laid out some pretty big plot-holey elements. Like, it could have been whatever was called the USS F, 6 lineage, that would have been much stronger, a simple thing. And because the ship didn't look like it was Discovery era or pre-Discovery era. Didn't like it was anything, it looked like a who the hell knows. And if it was a Federation, not Starfleet, it wouldn't have been a USS. Bit weird. I definitely think on my second watch tonight, it'll let the episode down a bit. But I thought as first watch, it was good, it was interesting. Colbert got some good stuff. He's finally actually on location doing something. And they do like giving characters they give certain moments to a lot that episode, like Arium. Look, she's a character. Oh, she's dead. Look, Nan gets more lines in the other episode. Oh, she's gone. It was that problem again. But
we found out the Asian guy's name is Reese. I'm sure we've heard that before, but he gets command of the ship while they beam over, so that was good. And the Arium actress got command of the ship when they first beamed over to Starfleet as well. So thank you for giving them some things to do. Finally,
as we close out, there's a lot of bits of information in this one in terms of the costumes, the designs, all this sort of stuff. Please do tune into our other small episodes this week. You are going to not regret it. There's so much good stuff. We haven't filmed them yet, but I've had to make the graphics, and we're going to learn a lot. So do tune in for that. This episode did have a lot of effort put in, and you can tell. And I hopefully this continues to go on. And of course, tune in for our later on live again tonight for all of the scene by scene as we see different things and moments and all sorts of bits. Any final words, Stuart?
I think the Star Trek feel is back at least, so good job, Discovery. Keep it up, and hopefully this is a new beginning and a new step forward for for your show. I'm not going to say for the franchise, but for your show. So
third showrunner's a charm.
Yes.
Third reboot of the show dynamic.
So guys, leave your comments down below what you thought about this episode. There's a lot to digest. Like you said, there's a lot of breakdown videos, so tune in for those. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss them. Click the notification bell icon so you don't miss them. And join our live discussions as well, because we always like talking about this kind of thing. And we love getting your input in live, real time as well, and not just in the comments. So if you can, please join.
And support directly if you want to and can do in those live super chat. Any amount from low to high all makes difference, although we'll read non-super chat comments obviously. Patreon, PayPal, one-time donation, PayPal, or joining the channel. There's a little button called join. All really helps, and mounting up all together. You guys do help. Everyone else get it for free. We find that really important and really helpful, and hopefully you guys appreciate it. And if you can't, just like, subscribe, and keep watching.
That's right. So until next time, guys, I'm Captain Foley.
And Quantum Coggins.
Bye, everybody.